Commander Vash-Kol stared at the human strapped to the interrogation chair, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence. The creature looked ordinary. Disappointingly so. 2 arms, 2 legs, that ridiculous single head with only 2 eyes. How did these things even see properly with such limited vision? So, Vash-Kol clicked his mandibles together. You are the famous General Marcus Kane, the terror of the Outer Rim, the butcher of Proxima Station. He paused dramatically. You look smaller than I expected. The human's lips curved upward in what their species called a smile. It was not a pleasant expression. And you look exactly like what I expected. Big, ugly, and about as bright as a burned-out plasma coil. Vash-Kol's secondary arms twitched with annoyance. 3 cycles of planning, 17 dead operatives, and half his ship's energy reserves spent on this snatch and grab operation, and the human was already being difficult. Do you know why you are here, General Kane? Let me guess, Kane replied, testing the restraints without looking down. You want military codes, troop movements, strategic plans. The usual boring stuff that keeps you insectoid types up at night. Insectoid. Vash-Kol's voice rose to a dangerous pitch. I am Zephyrian. We are the apex predators of 17 star systems. We have conquered worlds before your pathetic species discovered fire. Right. Kane nodded sagely. Apex predators. Is that why it took you 3 years to plan kidnapping one middle-aged human? Because you're so... Apex I? Sub-Commander Threx shifted nervously in the corner. Commander, perhaps we should begin the enhanced interrogation protocols. The human seems uncooperative. Vash-Kol waved a dismissive claw. Patience, Threx. Let me handle this. He leaned closer to Kane, his breath smelling of rotting vegetation and poor life choices. You see, General, your Terran Defense Force thinks they can simply waltz into our territory, establish their little colonies, and act like they own the galaxy. But we Zephyrians have been waiting, planning. And now we have you. Congratulations, Kane said dryly. You've captured the most boring general in the entire TDF. I run logistics. Do you know what logistics is? It's making sure soldiers have enough toilet paper and protein bars. Real exciting stuff. Lies. Vash-Kol slammed his primary fist on the nearby console. We know who you are. The hero of the Kepler campaign, the strategist who broke the Andromedan blockade. Kane's expression didn't change. The Kepler campaign was won by superior firepower and dumb luck. The Andromedan blockade was broken by a software glitch in their navigation systems. I just happened to be there when other people did the actual work, Threx whispered urgently to his commander. Sir, our intelligence reports clearly state. Your intelligence reports are probably written in crayon by someone who thinks space is blue. Kane interrupted. But please continue. This is the most entertainment I've had in weeks. Vash-Kol's compound eyes narrowed. Humans were supposed to be emotional creatures, prone to fear and desperation when captured. This one seemed more interested in critiquing their operational procedures. You will tell us what we want to know, General, one way or another. I'm sure I will. Kane agreed cheerfully, right after you figure out what questions to ask. So far, you've established that you kidnapped the wrong guy. Your planning department needs serious work, and your breath could strip paint off a hull. Outstanding interrogation technique, really. The Zephyrian commander's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation. Begin the neural probe sequence. Ooh, neural probes. Kane perked up with mock enthusiasm. Are those the ones that scramble your brain, or the ones that just give you a really bad headache? Because I've been dealing with TDF bureaucracy for 20 years, so my pain tolerance is probably higher than you think. Threx activated the neural probe device, a writhing mass of biomechanical tendrils that emerged from the ceiling. Commander, the probe is ready. Shall I begin the memory extraction? Wait. Vash-Kol held up a claw. Something was bothering him. The human was too calm, too ready. General Kane, you seem remarkably unconcerned about your situation. Kane shrugged as much as his restraints allowed. Should I be? You've kidnapped a logistics officer who spends most of his time arguing with supply sergeants about requisition forms. What's the worst that could happen? The worst? Vash-Kol's voice dropped to a menacing whisper. We could extract every military secret from your brain. We could learn the location of every human colony, every fleet position, every defensive installation. We could use that information to crush your species like the insects you are. Insects? Kane raised an eyebrow. That's rich, coming from something that looks like it crawled out of a hive. But sure. Go ahead. Extract away. I'm sure you'll find my extensive knowledge of supply chain management absolutely fascinating. The neural probe descended toward Kane's head, its tendrils writhing with anticipation. Just as it was about to make contact, an alarm began blaring throughout the ship. What is that? Vash-Kol demanded. A nervous voice crackled over the intercom. Commander, we have a problem. Multiple contacts dropping out of hyperspace. They're everywhere. Vash-Kol's eyes widened. How many ships? 67 and counting, sir. Dreadnoughts, carriers, cruisers, destroyers. It's an entire fleet. Kane's smile widened. Ah, there's the cavalry. Impossible. Vash-Kol spun to face him. No one knows you're here. We used quantum scramblers, stealth fields. Our operation was perfect. Your operation was amateur hour. Kane replied calmly. Did you really think the TDF would let a general wander around without proper security? I've got more tracking devices in me than a deep space probe. Hell, my dental work is probably broadcasting our location to half the galaxy. Threx was frantically working at his console. Commander, they're hailing us. On screen. The view screen flickered to life, showing the bridge of a massive Terran dreadnought. A woman in Admiral's uniform stared out at them with eyes that could have frozen helium. This is Admiral Sarah Chen-Okafor of the TDF Retribution. You have 30 seconds to return General Kane unharmed, or we will demonstrate why kidnapping our people is a very bad idea. Vash-Kol's mandibles clicked frantically. Admiral, surely we can negotiate. We have your general. One wrong move and 25 seconds. The Admiral interrupted. And just so we're clear, that's not a negotiation. That's a countdown. Kane chuckled. You might want to listen to her. Sarah's got a bit of a temper. Remember what happened to the hegemony fleet that tried to blockade Titan? What happened to them? Threx asked weakly. They became space dust. Kane replied cheerfully. Very pretty space dust, but dust nonetheless. 15 seconds. Admiral Chen-Okafor announced. I should mention that we've already disabled your engines and weapons. This is purely a courtesy countdown at this point. Vash-Kol looked around his bridge in panic. Disabled? When did they? About 3 minutes ago, Kane interrupted. Right around the time you started monologuing about being apex predators. Sarah's good at multitasking. 10 seconds. Wait. Vash-Kol raised all 4 arms. We surrender. We'll release the general immediately. 5 seconds. Bet, we're releasing him now. 4. Threx's claws were flying over the restraint controls. The locks are disengaging. 3. Kane stood up and stretched. Thanks for the hospitality, boys. Really first-rate accommodations. The interrogation chair could use better padding, though. 2. General Kane is free. Vash-Kol practically shrieked. He's unharmed. Please don't destroy us. 1. Admiral Chen-Okafor's expression didn't change. General Kane, please confirm your status. Kane walked over to the communication console, pushing Threx aside. I'm fine, Sarah. A little stiff from the restraints, but otherwise unharmed. These fine gentlemen have been taking excellent care of me. Excellent, the Admiral replied. Transport is standing by. A golden column of light enveloped Kane, and he began to shimmer. Oh, one more thing, he said to Vash-Kol. You might want to check your intelligence sources. The Kepler campaign wasn't won by superior firepower. It was won by convincing the enemy that we had superior firepower. Big difference. What do you mean? Vash-Kol demanded. Kane's form was already beginning to fade. I mean, you kidnapped exactly the right person. I'm not just a logistics officer. I'm the logistics officer. The one who makes sure our enemies see exactly what we want them to see, when we want them to see it, including intelligence reports that lead certain species to believe they've captured a valuable prize. The transport beam completed its cycle, leaving only empty air where Kane had been standing. Vash-Kol stared at the empty space, his compound eyes widening with horrified realization. He wanted to be captured, sir. Threx's voice was barely a whisper. He wanted to be captured, Vash-Kol repeated, his voice rising with each word. This was all planned. The entire operation was compromised from the beginning. On the screen, Admiral Chen-Okafor's expression shifted to something that might have been amusement. Did you really think we'd let you grab one of our people without having a contingency plan? General Kane volunteered for this mission. He's been feeding your intelligence network false information for months. False information? Vash-Kol's mandibles clicked rapidly. But our sources were now known to us. The Admiral interrupted. Every contact, every agent, every communication channel you've been using, we've been watching you plan this operation since day one. Threx was staring at his console in horror. Commander, I'm reading massive energy signatures from the human fleet. They're charging weapons. But we released him. Vash-Kol protested. We cooperated. Admiral Chen-Okafor's smile was not friendly. Yes, you did. And in exchange, you're going to cooperate a bit more. You're going to provide us with complete intelligence on Zephyrian military capabilities, fleet positions, and strategic plans. You're going to recall all your ships from human space, and you're going to sign a formal apology for this little stunt. And if we refuse, the Admiral gestured to something off-screen, then you'll discover what happens when you threaten the Terran Defense Force. We didn't bring 67 ships here just for the rescue operation. We brought them to make a point. What point? That kidnapping one of our people is an act of war. Admiral Chen-Okafor replied calmly. And humans are very, very good at war. Vash-Kol looked around his bridge at the terrified faces of his crew outside the viewports. The massive human fleet hung in space like a constellation of death. Each ship was larger than his entire vessel, and their weapons were trained on his position. We accept your terms, he said finally. Excellent. The Admiral replied. You'll be receiving a complete list of our requirements within the hour. I suggest you read them carefully. Oh, and Commander Vash-Kol. Yes, Admiral. Next time you want to kidnap someone, maybe try a species that doesn't have a habit of turning your plans inside out. Humans are particularly bad targets for this sort of thing. The transmission ended, leaving Vash-Kol staring at a blank screen. Around him, his crew was frantically working to comply with the human demands, their previous confidence shattered. Sir, Threx said quietly. What do we do now? Vash-Kol slumped in his command chair, all four arms hanging limply at his sides. We learn a very important lesson about human logistics, Threx. What lesson is that, sir? That when humans say someone runs logistics, they mean that person is capable of organizing the complete and total destruction of your entire civilization, and they'll do it with a smile on their face. In the distance, the human fleet maintained its formation, a constant reminder that some prey was better left alone. And somewhere aboard the TDF Retribution, General Marcus Kane was probably filing the paperwork for the most successful intelligence operation in recent history. Because that's what logistics officers do. 3 standard hours later, Vash-Kol sat in what remained of his dignity while reading through the most humiliating document in Zephyrian military history. The human demands weren't just comprehensive, they were surgical in their precision. Sub-Commander Threx, he called wearily, explain to me again how our perfect intelligence network managed to miss the fact that every single one of our informants was a double agent. Threx shuffled his feet nervously, his secondary arms twitching. Well, sir, according to these files the humans just transmitted, our primary contact, Agent Yilix Prime, has been working for them for over 2 years. Apparently they recruited him by offering him better health insurance. Health insurance? Vash-Kol's mandibles clicked in disbelief. We lost our entire spy network because humans offered better medical coverage. It gets worse, sir. Threx continued, consulting his datapad. Agent Korth 7 switched sides after they provided his offspring with full university scholarships. Agent Nex 4 was turned when they helped his mate recover from a rare genetic disorder. an agent. And stop. Vash-Kol held up a primary claw. Just stop. Let me understand this correctly. While we were threatening these agents with death and dismemberment for failure, the humans were offering them dental plans and educational opportunities? Yes, sir. Quite comprehensive dental plans, actually. Full coverage, no deductibles, includes cosmetic procedures. I don't want to hear about their dental benefits. Vash-Kol roared, then immediately winced as his outburst triggered a painful clicking in his own badly maintained mandibles. He made a mental note to look into that dental coverage later. The communication console chimed with an incoming transmission. Commander. The voice belonged to High Admiral Chen-Okafor of the Zephyrian Supreme Fleet. I trust you can explain why every major news network in the galaxy is currently broadcasting footage of our mighty invasion force surrendering to a single human logistics officer. Vash-Kol's compound eyes drooped. High Admiral, I can explain. Can you? Chen-Okafor's voice carried the kind of cold fury that typically preceded very short careers. Because from where I'm sitting, it appears that our most elite strike team was outsmarted by a species that considers paperwork a legitimate military strategy. Sir, the humans, Chen-Okafor interrupted, have just broadcast a press conference. Would you like to know what General Kane told the Galactic media about our operation? Vash-Kol remained silent. Sensing that any response would only make things worse, he called it adorable. The High Admiral continued. He actually used the word adorable to describe our 3-year planning operation. He then proceeded to explain, in detail, exactly how they manipulated our entire intelligence apparatus. The interviewer asked him if he was concerned about being kidnapped. And do you know what he said? No, sir, he said. And I quote, "It was like being invited to a very boring dinner party by people who forgot to plan the menu." He then thanked us for providing him with valuable insights into Zephyrian tactical thinking and suggested we consider career changes. Threx winced audibly. Sir, there's more. More? Vash-Kol's voice cracked. The humans have released what they're calling educational materials. They've published our entire operational plan, complete with detailed analysis of every tactical and strategic error we made. It's being used as a textbook in their military academies. A textbook? Yes, sir. Case study in strategic overconfidence, how not to kidnap someone. It's apparently quite popular. The reviews are unflattering. Vash-Kol buried his head in his primary hands. What do the reviews say? Threx consulted his data pad. Let's see, hilariously incompetent. A masterclass in how to humiliate yourself on a galactic scale. 5 stars for comedy value. And, oh, this one's particularly harsh. Makes the Andromeda invasion of wrong planet look competent by comparison. The communication channel crackled again. Commander Vash-Kol, High Admiral Chen-Okafor's voice had taken on an ominous calm. You will report to High Command immediately upon your return. We have much to discuss. Yes, sir, Vash-Kol replied weakly. Oh, and Commander? The humans have sent us a bill, sir, for the fuel costs of their rescue fleet. Apparently, mobilizing 67 starships isn't cheap, and they expect us to cover the expenses. They've also included a late fee because, and I quote, the delay in releasing General Kane required our ships to maintain formation longer than originally planned. Vash-Kol stared at the communication panel. They're charging us for rescuing their own officer from us, along with administrative fees, processing costs, and something called emotional distress compensation for the General's tedious experience with substandard hospitality. How much? 17 million credits. The bridge fell silent, except for the occasional nervous click of mandibles and the humming of life support systems that suddenly seemed far too expensive to maintain. Sir, Threx said quietly. Incoming transmission from the human fleet. Put it through. Vash-Kol sighed. What else could possibly go wrong? The view screen activated, showing not Admiral Chen-Okafor this time, but General Kane himself. He was sitting in what appeared to be a comfortable chair, holding a steaming cup of something that smelled remarkably good. Hello again, Commander, Kane said cheerfully. I hope you don't mind the interruption, but I wanted to thank you personally for your hospitality. Thank us? Vash-Kol's voice rose an octave. Absolutely. You've provided the Terran Defense Force with invaluable intelligence about Zephyrian military capabilities. Your interrogation techniques, while charmingly ineffective, gave us excellent insights into your psychological warfare methods. And your ship's security systems? Well, let's just say our technical teams were very impressed by how easily they were bypassed. Threx leaned toward his commander. Sir, he's telling us that they studied our ship while we had him. I heard him. Threx, Vash-Kol muttered. Kane took a sip from his cup. I also wanted to let you know that we've decided to offer employment opportunities to any Zephyrian military personnel who might be interested in career changes. We have excellent benefits packages, as I'm sure your former intelligence agents can attest. You're trying to recruit our people? Vash-Kol asked incredulously. Why not? Kane shrugged. You're clearly capable individuals who've simply been working with inadequate resources and poor leadership. No offense. Yeah, none taken. Vash-Kol replied automatically, then realized what he'd just said. Wait, that was incredibly offensive, was it? Kane appeared genuinely surprised. I meant it as constructive criticism. Your tactical planning shows creativity, even if your execution needs work. Your intelligence gathering demonstrates initiative, despite being completely compromised from the start. And your interrogation technique, while utterly useless, shows a certain enthusiasm. Threx whispered urgently. Commander, I think he's being sarcastic. I think he's being sarcastic too, Threx. Vash-Kol hissed back. Kane's expression brightened. Oh good, you're learning. That's the first step toward improving your operational effectiveness. Speaking of which, I have a small gift for you. A gift? We're transmitting a complete tactical analysis of your kidnapping operation, along with detailed recommendations for improvement. Consider it professional development. A data packet arrived at Threx's console. As he opened it, his compound eyes widened progressively until they threatened to fall out of his head entirely. Commander, he whispered, this document is, it's 3,000 pages long, 3,000 pages of helpful suggestions, Kane corrected. Everything from how to verify intelligence sources to basic principles of prisoner psychology. There's even a section on proper interrogation room furniture. Did you know that uncomfortable chairs actually make subjects less likely to cooperate? Vash-Kol looked at the transmission timestamp. You wrote a 3,000-page analysis in 3 hours? Oh, I didn't write it, Kane replied. It was already prepared. We started working on it about 6 months ago, right around the time we identified your operation. My logistics team is very thorough. Your logistics team predicted our kidnapping attempts 6 months in advance? Predicted? No, we planned it. The whole thing was our idea from the beginning. The bridge fell completely silent. Even the life support systems seemed to pause in shock. Your idea? Vash-Kol's voice was barely a whisper. Kane nodded enthusiastically. Absolutely. We needed to expose your intelligence network, assess your military capabilities, and demonstrate human resolve to potential aggressors throughout this sector. Arranging for you to kidnap me accomplished all 3 objectives simultaneously. Efficient, don't you think? Threx made a strangled noise that might have been laughter or weeping. You see, Kane continued, humans have been dealing with kidnapping attempts for centuries. We've gotten quite good at turning them to our advantage. In this case, we knew you were planning something, so we made sure you planned exactly what we wanted you to plan. How? Vash-Kol asked weakly. Simple. We fed your intelligence network information suggesting that capturing me would be a strategic victory. We made sure my travel schedule was just poorly secured enough to seem vulnerable. We even arranged for a few lucky breaks during your infiltration to keep you confident. Kane paused to take another sip from his cup. The really clever part was making you think you were being stealthy. Every secret transmission you made, every covert movement of your ships, every classified detail of your operation, we were tracking all of it. We knew when you were coming, where you were going, and exactly what you planned to do. But why let us succeed? Vash-Kol demanded. Why allow yourself to be captured at all? Because Kane's smile was positively predatory. Sometimes the best way to catch a predator is to let them think they've caught you first. The implications hit Vash-Kol like a meteor impact. The fleet. Your massive rescue fleet. They weren't just here to rescue you. Now you're getting it. Kane clapped his hands together. 67 ships don't just happen to be in the neighborhood when someone gets kidnapped. They were pre-positioned, waiting for you to make your move. Admiral Chen-Okafor has been planning this response for months, so the entire operation was a trap, yes. A very large, very expensive, very public trap designed to demonstrate what happens to people who threaten human personnel. Kane's expression grew serious for the first time. You kidnapped one man, Commander. In response, we deployed enough firepower to sterilize a planet. Do you understand what that means? Vash-Kol understood perfectly. It meant that humans weren't just technologically advanced or strategically clever. They were absolutely, terrifyingly committed to protecting their own people, regardless of cost. The bill for 17 million credits, he said slowly. This is the cheapest lesson in galactic politics you'll ever receive, Kane finished. Because the alternative was letting every ambitious species in the galaxy think that kidnapping humans is a viable strategy. We couldn't allow that precedent. The general stood up from his chair. Anyway, I should let you get back to explaining this to your superiors. I imagine that's going to be a fun conversation. Wait, Vash-Kol called out. What happens now? Kane paused at the edge of the transmission. Now? Now you go home, you file your reports, and you tell everyone you know that humans are not to be trifled with. You spread the word that we protect our people, we honor our commitments, and we have very, very long memories. And if someone doesn't listen? Kane's smile returned, but it wasn't friendly anymore. Then they'll discover that General Marcus Kane, boring logistics officer, has some very interesting friends, and some of them are much less patient than I am. The transmission ended, leaving Vash-Kol staring once again at a blank screen. Sir, Threx said quietly. What do we tell High Command? Vash-Kol considered this question for a long moment. We tell them the truth, Threx. We tell them that we learned an important lesson about human nature. What lesson is that, sir? That when humans say they run logistics, they don't just mean they can get supplies from point A to point B. Vash-Kol looked out at the human fleet, still maintaining its formation around his crippled ship. They mean they can orchestrate the complete strategic humiliation of an entire species while making it look like an accident. And the bill, sir? We pay it. Vash-Kol said firmly. We pay it immediately. We pay it with interest, and we include a formal apology for the inconvenience. Sir? Because, Threx, 17 million credits is a bargain price for learning that humans don't just have superior technology or better tactics. They have something far more dangerous than that. What's that, sir? Vash-Kol settled back in his command chair, feeling every one of his years. They have a sense of humor about their own superiority, and anyone who can laugh while demonstrating their ability to annihilate you is someone you definitely don't want to anger. As the Zephyrian ship limped home under escort, carrying news of the most expensive kidnapping attempt in galactic history, one thing became abundantly clear throughout the sector. The humans were not prey. They were persistent predators with dental plans, and that was somehow the most terrifying thing of all.